And I want to begin by saying thank you for taking this time to join me here in our invitation to join whoever finds us here on Facebook um, to hang with us for a couple of days, November 10th to the 12th, at the Journey of Awakening Conference, where they'll get to meet you, Tom, and sit in satsang with you. Yes.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you also for taking the time out to do this. I know there's a whole team of you that work very hard, and I know you have a sense of service. It's really wonderful. And for those of you who are tuned into this live, just before we went live, Cindy did a lovely prayer, which really touched me. I thought it was beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
yes, people get to be in satsang with me, and I get to be, of course, in satsang with them as well. So it goes both ways. It's wonderful for me to meet all the people who come to these sorts of things, who tune in. Yeah, I'm speaking quite quietly. Can you hear me okay? Is that all right?
I can hear you. And I hopefully everyone at Facebook can hear you too. I'm pretty sure they can, and they definitely can feel you. So for anyone who doesn't know Tom, it's a real treat to get to introduce you. Though your bio, essentially, you're a man of the world, right? And I do believe you're still a practicing physician
I am.
who,
That's right.
and you live in the UK, married, have children, go to work every day, and yet um, the teachings of your guru have lit you up. Is that a good way of putting it?
Oh,
And you get to
that's
share that. Would you like to talk about that a little bit? Because on the outskirts, you'd be considered a fairly busy, successful man, and yet you spend so much of your time sharing this work and these teachings. And I'd love for people to hear a little bit about what that is like and why you keep showing up. This is not the first time you've come and given your time to these conferences and to this work. And um, so whatever it is you want to tell people about,
yeah.
that love in your heart and what you share.
Well, you put it beautifully. No one. I don't think anyone's put it that way before. Lit me up. But you're right. It's my. This is my love to share this, and the teachings of my teacher, or my guru, Sri Ramana Maharshi. He has lit me up, and so I love to share it. It's effortless for me to share this. It comes very easily, naturally. It's a pleasure. And in terms of coming to these conferences, I keep on being invited. So I'm very happy to be invited. And if I'm invited, I usually try and turn up. And so it's wonderful to be invited, to be asked to come along. And the people who come to these conferences, I've been really impressed is the wrong word, but I can't think of a better word. I've been really impressed by what a lovely community and lovely bunch of people you have coming to these events. And it's been amazing how many people resonate with what I'm sharing. So, yeah. Oh, you asked me about my life. Yeah, I mean, yes, outwardly I have quite a busy life. I work, I have a family, I'm married, I have children. But, I don't know if that makes that people often come to me because they say, "Oh, Tom, you have this spiritual life, but you've also integrated it with your daily life." But to me, it's not like that, really. I mean, okay, yes, it's true. I do have quite a relatively busy life outwardly, but it doesn't make a difference, I don't think, whether you're busy outwardly or not, or, if I was living in a cave somewhere or in the middle of a forest, or it doesn't really make a difference to me in that sense. This is just the way it is for Tom. This is Tom's karma, if you like. And I'm very grateful, grateful to it. I love my job. I love my work as a doctor. And I love my children, my wife. They're all blessings to me. I feel very fortunate, very happy. very lucky. But it's just the way life is for Tom, really.
If you may, I am inspired to ask you to speak perhaps, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are people who are sitting with us right now. We just went on a few moments ago, and yet I'm feeling the word is the transmission of the energy of this space um, almost makes it difficult for me to speak, though I've been in your presence before and I have felt it before, and it be curious in the comments or whatever if others are feeling it. Can you speak to what it is that is occurring just as we sit here and how it relates to the work you do with those that find their way to your satsangs?
Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you. So in the same way that you find it difficult to speak because of the sense of presence, sense of something here, same for me sometimes. If you come to my satsang meetings, which we hold twice a week, sometimes, we can barely speak as a group because there's such a powerful presence. And it's a part of the teaching. There's a verbal part of the teaching, a conceptual part of the teaching. And this is a wonderful part of the teaching. We want the conceptual or verbal teachings to be clear, clearing what they point to, clearing what they're saying, and hopefully they are. But then there's a deeper part of the teaching, which is non-verbal. It's a silent teaching. And you asked me to share about that. I don't really know so much about that, in the sense that I know about it intimately, deeply, but how to explain it, I don't know. It's a mystery on one hand, and it isn't a mystery on the other hand. It's not a mystery because I know it. We all know it deep within us, non-verbally. But how to put it into words, I have no idea. Well, I can try. It's like it's a transmission. It might seem like a transmission from me to you, but it's not really. It isn't like this, really. It's a transmission from self to self, ourself to ourself. But as long as we think we're a person, we're an individual body-mind entity, it can feel like, oh, somebody else is transmitting it to me. But when we go deeper, we realize it's just from self to self, from heart to heart. It's heart-to-heart transmission. From your deeper self to your deeper self. It's not, strictly speaking, it's not a transmission at all, but it appears to be one. As long as we think we're a person, it will appear to be a transmission. As the mind grows quieter, not because we're trying to force the mind to be quiet, not through suppression or through force, but naturally as our mind comes to rest in its own self, in its own presence, in its own being, then we get access to this deeper teaching, which is the truer teaching as well. It can take us places that the verbal teaching cannot. So this is an essential part of the teaching. And when I say teaching, I'm not talking about Tom's teaching or my Guru Ramana's teaching. It's the teaching that's within us all. Teaching is within us all. So we're just actually making contact with our true nature, our true self. This is the teaching, not my teaching or anyone's teaching. I often talk about Ramana's teaching, but it isn't even Ramana's teaching. It's just the one teaching, one true teaching in our hearts. And hopefully, all I do, if I'm successful, as it were, is I just help people get in touch with that. And that's why I think many people feel what I share is so powerful. But actually, all I'm doing is helping people get in touch with their own true self. So it's very easy for me. I don't have to do very much at all.
May I ask a pointed question?
Of course, yeah.
I move in the work I do and in my own personal practice. I move in and out of quite a few different communities. And I've noticed it in those communities these days as well as in my neighborhood with my family and my friends. There's a sense of unease. There's a lot of turbulence in the world. It has a different flavor than it did a couple of years ago with the pandemic. There's, um, outwardly there's war in quite a few different places, um, and a lot of unease and unrest and chaos. And the energy is quite strong right now. The question, of course, well, there's no of course, but the question is, how do we serve this teaching? How do we say yes to it um, in a way that both eases the own inner turbulence as we connect with the world, as well as potentially being of service to the world? How does your teaching support that or serve that? And again, the words don't quite cover it, but I have a sense that you could feel the question.
See, what we're looking for is, I suggest at least, this is my suggestion to you, that what we're looking for is peace, happiness. Here, within, and here, outside of us. Outwardly, we want peace, harmony, love, happiness in the world around us. That means our personal relationships, our family, our friends, our workplace, our community, our towns, our cities, our country, internationally, interplanetary, intergalactically, cosmically. We want there to be happiness, peace, harmony, and in ourselves as well. This is what we're looking for. What this teaching reveals to us, and maybe some of the people listening to this interview here will sense this already, is that when we discover peace and harmony within us, we discover it is everywhere. At the moment, it seems like there's lots of, as you said, the world, there are terrible things happening in the world. There's lots of war, conflict, horrible, unspeakable things that are happening every day, unfortunately, to someone somewhere, let's say. And it feels like, well, I can maybe find inner peace for myself, but then what about everyone else? What about the world? But what we discover when we go deep within ourselves, inner peace, the whole world finds inner peace or outer peace. And this is why my teacher, Guru Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan just means beloved. It's just a term of endearment. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, he says the most important thing we have to do is discover our true self. And this gives peace to everyone, everywhere. The greatest thing you can do for the world is to discover what you truly are. So it's an inherently spiritual message, meaning the way we discover we can help the most is by going inwards and discovering what we are. Now, service in the traditional sense, so for example, helping the needy, helping the poor, helping the less abled, serving those in need, serving the community, that may happen as a part of your journey. It may be a strong part of your journey, or it may not. You see, again, in the same way we said earlier that how I or Tom, has this life as a family man, and he has a work life as well. I live in London, the UK, so I live in a city as well. This is my karma, but it doesn't. Maybe doesn't have to be like this for everybody. Similarly, one person's karma may be to be outwardly very service orientated in an obvious way, but it might not be. That might not be your karma. That might not be your path. So we don't have to do things in an obvious. We don't have to be of service in an obvious way. If we follow our heart, we will be of service. It may not be in an obvious way outwardly. So I sometimes jokingly say that the teaching that I share is of self-centered teaching. It's self-centered teaching. The purpose of the teaching is for you to discover what you truly are. It's not even to help anybody else. It's a self-centered teaching. You're encouraged. You're not discouraged from helping others. If you want to help others, that's great. That's certainly not discouraged. But the emphasis is not to help others. The emphasis is to help yourself. Discover the happiness, the peace, the love that you are. And then you can decide if you want to help other people later. What you'll find is that when you discover what you truly are, there's nothing else. There's nothing else outside of you. And this is the highest service, really. But on the way, if you want to do charity work, if you want to help people, that is great. But if anyone's listening and they don't feel called that way, they don't feel pulled that way, that's fine too. You don't have to do those things. There's no compulsion either way. The other thing is, as we continue down this path, we find that we naturally start to become more happy and loving and caring. And that a lot of our addictive and harmful tendencies naturally start to fall away. I'm not saying that you become perfect as a human being. As a human being, all of us have our flaws, our quirks, our things, and I'm no different. But a lot of it will just fall away. All the negativity just falls away effortlessly, often.
One final question, perhaps. Who knows if another one will arise? What can you tell people about what to expect when they register for the conference, which you can do and attend live for free? The link is there in the description on the Facebook Live. What will people expect when they come and spend these 90 minutes with you?
It's a great question. And what I would say is that if a part of you, if anyone's listening to this and they find that a part of them is interested or resonating with what I'm sharing or what's being shared through me, then come along, take a look. What is it going to be like? I don't know. I never know what these things are going to be like. But let me think of some things to say, as you've asked. I hope it will be interesting. I hope if you have any questions, you can ask them. And you'll get clear answers that actually answer your questions. The feedback I've got from these sessions. See, I never know what these teachings are really like for other people, but then people give feedback. So I just, based on what people say there's a lot of clarity in what I share. So I hope maybe you'll get some clarity. Maybe you'll have some inner peace. Maybe you'll get some insight, some understanding. From my point of view, these teachings are amazing. They are incredibly powerful. And I hope to guide people to that. These teachings are in us already, and it's just uncovering what is already within you. It's such an empowering and loving thing. So, as I said, if anybody here is listening and they're interested, please just pop along and see if you like it. Yeah, just give it a try.
Thank you, Tom. I'm looking. It feels like we've only been speaking for 2 or 3 minutes, and it looks like it's been 20 plus, and feel a little drunk is a good word. Um, little head spinning a little bit, and just feels like things are quieting, opening,
There's,
shifting.
there's a disorientation, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I can feel that in you, you see.
And I've been on this path for a long time, so it's fun. I
What happens is when the mind starts to slow down, the thoughts aren't so rapid. The thoughts are what orientates the ego mind. So when that's coming down, there's a sense of disorientation, a sense of time starts to go blurring. The sense of what am I doing? What am I here to do? What's my purpose? Starts to go all funny. And our true nature starts to upsurge. It's different for everybody. Whenever I meet with somebody, it's different. It's never the same. The feeling between us now is different to anything I felt with anybody else.
feels a little bit like a divine appointment, Tom. And I'm excited to see what happens next. Chills, the hair standing up on my arm. And I would love everyone, the sound of my voice, to um to just respond to that inner longing, however it feels. Hit the register button. There's actually no risk. Um, and come join us for the weekend. Come, hang out with Tom for 90 minutes and take a look at everyone else that's going to be there. Um, it's going to be something.
I mean, I think that's the thing about these conferences is that there's something for everyone. You know, some people might love what I'm saying. Other people might think, "Oh, I'm not sure about that guy," but then there'll be someone else there who will resonate with you. And I think that's an amazing thing. You know, I don't expect everybody to think, "Oh, I think Tom's the best teacher" or whatever. We all have our own things, and what the organizers of this conference put together is a truly amazing thing. You've got so many different offerings here, and aren't we blessed to have all these things offered to us? So, you know, even if you're not liking what I'm sharing, as it were, we're not resonating with, there's probably someone else there that is going to say something that's right for you. So, as Cindy said, just come along, have a see, have a look see.
I think that covers it. Unless there's more you'd like to share, Tom. I am.
Um,
I'm
I
just
don't think.
grateful.
Well, likewise, very much so. Thank you. The only thing I would add is that if can I do my can I plug my website and things like that? Is that all right? Yeah. So pretty much everything I teach is available for free. There's a website of mine, tomdas.com, and it's got a whole load of resources. There's a recommended reading list for those who are interested in reading. There's a link to loads of YouTube videos. On my YouTube channel, there are lots of playlists you can look at. There's some guided meditations. They're arranged by topic. For example, the path of knowledge, the path of love, all these sorts of how to deal with mental health issues and things like this. And then there's the website tomdas.com, which has got so many articles on it. Almost every aspect of the spiritual journey is touched upon and covered in some way, and it's all a free resource there. So please have a look. And I meet with people twice a week on Thursdays and on Sundays, online, and then once a month we meet up in London as well in the UK. So if anyone's interested, just come. As I said, just come along. See if you like it, and if you like it, you can carry on coming. And if you don't, well, you don't have to. There's no pressure. But there's an offering there for you. That's something that's the plug.
Thank you very much. We'll see you all soon at the Journey of Awakening Conference, November 10th through the 12th. Thank you.